Ambassador Thexavar had delivered ultimatums to 17 different species across the galaxy. Each time the pattern was identical: initial defiance, followed by desperate negotiations, and finally, grudging acceptance of the hegemony's terms. The tribute flowed, the species bent the knee, and the empire grew stronger. Standing on the observation deck of the dreadnought Supremacy, Thexavar gazed down at the blue-white marble that the locals called Earth. Such a small world to cause so much inconvenience. Ambassador, his aide, a nervous Kalari named Jix, approached with a data pad. The humans have responded to our demands. Thexavar's four eyes narrowed. 3 weeks had passed since he'd broadcast the hegemony's standard tributary requirements: 20% of their gross planetary product delivered annually in raw materials and manufactured goods. Most species took less than a day to respond, usually with panicked acceptance. And Thexavar's voice carried the authority of someone who spoke for 1,000,000 worlds. They said no. The word hung in the recycled air of the command deck like a toxic gas. Several bridge officers turned their heads. In the hegemony's 3,000-year history, that word had been spoken exactly 4 times in response to tributary demands. Those 4 species no longer existed. No. Thexavar's translator struggled with the concept. Clarify their terms of negotiation. Sir, they weren't negotiating. They said no. Then they went silent. Complete communications blackout. Thexavar studied the planet below. Intelligence reports described humans as a young species, barely past their nuclear age, only recently achieving faster-than-light travel. They had a single star system under their control and perhaps 8 billion individuals. The math was simple: 1 world against 1,000,000. Perhaps they didn't understand the consequences of refusal, Thexavar mused. Prepare a demonstration. The Supremacy's weapons could crack continents. A surgical strike on an uninhabited landmass would surely bring them to their senses. Thexavar had used this tactic on the Volani. They'd surrendered before the debris had finished falling. But as the weapon systems powered up, something extraordinary happened. The silence broke. Hegemony vessel, came a calm human voice over all frequencies. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. You are in violation of Sol system space. Leave. Now. Thexavar laughed, a sound like grinding crystals. Admiral Chen, I am Ambassador Thexavar of the Galactic Hegemony. We represent 1,000,000 civilized worlds. You represent 1. Surely you can calculate those odds. I can, Chen replied. You're outnumbered. The ambassador's laughter died. I beg your pardon? You claim to represent 1,000,000 worlds, Ambassador. But how many of those worlds chose to join you? Thexavar felt a chill run down his carapace. That is irrelevant. They are part of the hegemony now. All of them conquered, all of them enslaved, all of them forced to pay tribute to feed your war machine. Chen's voice remained steady, conversational. Tell me, Ambassador, when did you last receive tribute from the Zeroni system? Thexavar's aide fumbled with his data pad. The Zeroni had been reliable tributaries for 2 centuries. Sir, Jix whispered, there's been no contact from Zeroni in 3 months. The Volani, Chen continued. The Kalari homeworld? The mining stations of Proxima Drift? Each name sent another spike of ice through Thexavar's nervous system. Jix's frantically scrolling datapad confirmed what the humans somehow already knew. Dozens of tributary worlds had gone silent. No communication, no tribute, no explanation. What have you done? Thexavar's voice cracked. Nothing, Chen replied. We simply asked them a question. On the main screen, Earth's night side rotated into view. Cities glowed like neural networks across the continents. But there was something else. Points of light in orbit. Hundreds of them. Thousands. What question? Thexavar demanded. We asked them, what if you just stopped? Stopped sending tribute. Stopped responding to ultimatums. stopped pretending their chains were anything more than habit. Impossible, Thexvar snarled. Our fleets are spread across 1,000,000 worlds, maintaining control through fear. But fear only works if people believe you can be everywhere at once. Chen's voice carried a smile. You can't. No one can. The points of light around Earth began to move. Ships, thousands of human ships, but something was wrong with the silhouettes. They were too familiar. Those are hegemony vessels, Jix whispered in horror. Were, Chen corrected, somehow hearing him across the void. Funny thing about slavery, Ambassador. The slaves vastly outnumber the masters. All it takes is someone to point out that the locks were never real. The tactical display showed a nightmare scenario. Across the galaxy, hegemony fleets were being overwhelmed not by superior technology or tactics, but by sheer numbers. Tributary worlds that had submitted for centuries were rising simultaneously. Stolen ships turned on their former masters. Supply lines collapsed. Communication networks went dark. This is impossible. Thexvar breathed. The logistics alone, coordinating across light years. You taught us about faster than light communication when you tried to intimidate us, Chen said. We put it to better use. Every oppressed world, every enslaved species, every tributary system, they all received the same message. You are not alone, and you are not weak. You are many, and they are few. The supremacy shuddered as the first kinetic rounds impacted her shields. Around her, other hegemony dreadnoughts were taking fire from converted cargo haulers, mining vessels, and transport ships. The attackers died easily, but for each one destroyed, 10 more took its place. Last chance, Ambassador, Chen said. Surrender now and we'll discuss terms. The hegemony does not negotiate with... The hegemony, Chen interrupted, no longer exists. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Free Worlds Alliance, and we demand your silence. As the supremacy's shields failed and her hull began to buckle, Thexvar finally understood what made humans dangerous. It wasn't their technology, their aggression, or their stubbornness. It was their belief that freedom was worth dying for, and their talent for making others believe it too. The last thing Thexvar heard before the bridge decompressed was laughter. Not the grinding crystals of his own kind, but the warm, defiant sound of humans who had just taught the galaxy that every chain could be broken. All it took was someone brave enough to try.